Mike, we're going to start with you. You have strong feelings about how the debt of reparations should be paid. You feel like it should be land.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like that's the answer?
I think it's a culmination of things, but I think that if you're not asking for land as a big part of that, that maybe you're off course. If Bill Gates, who makes all his money off microchips and computers, is now trying to be the largest landowner in the United States, you know, if you want a good sense of where to find some food, follow 100 dogs. You know, if Gates want land, why aren't we 54% of all African Americans live in the South? We know we were enslaved here. We know we built the economy of the South. We know we were the cornerstone of the South, said by Alexander Stephens, the vice president of the Confederacy, who Stephens County is named for, said the cornerstone of the Confederacy is slavery. So since the cornerstone of building this bitch took us working for free, we deserve something. And what we deserve is land, and we deserve land grants like Dr. King asked for. We deserve to have government contracts that are 100 years in perpetuity for that land. So if corn need to be grown, we should be granted the land. We should be given the contracts to grow the corn. Why does that work? Because it keeps a dollar cycling, not only in our community, but the greater community.
Land is one aspect of it. In respect to my brother Mike, the thing is, we don't just want land because they'll do what they're doing in Mississippi. There's a bunch of people who live in a city, but then they'll taint the water. They will do certain things like they do on certain Indian reservations. They will pollute the creeks, things like that. So land is one option, but we need cash payments. And when we get the cash, we can buy whatever land we need.
I'll add, as an international human rights scholar, there's a legal definition for what reparations is. So under international law, reparations comes in 5 forms. So compensation or cash must be included because that's one of the forms of reparations under international law. But there's also restitution, and that accounts for stolen land, stolen labor, stolen property, real or intellectual. So that's relevant in the entertainment space in terms of the cultural contributions of African Americans, right? The other form of reparations under international law is rehabilitation. So that can look like free medical care from birth to death, free education, free legal and trauma services. Then there's satisfaction, which accounts for more symbolic forms of reparations, like a formal apology, the taking down of Confederate monuments, and the erecting of statues that honor our ancestors, for instance. And then the last, or the 5th form of reparations under international law is guarantees of non-repetition. So that gets at more structural and institutional policy change. So my personal opinion is that you cannot call a reparations package reparations unless it includes all 5 of those forms.
When we're talking about America and what is owed in America, it is directly the descendants of slaves in this country. It is not just slavery, because we want to make sure that people don't get caught up in that talking point where they just stop with slavery. We're talking about redlining, we're talking about sharecropping, we're talking about mass incarceration, we're talking about Jim Crow, all of the things that happened as a result of slavery that still exists today.
Where do Caribbean Americans fit in?
Well, they have something called CARICOM, where all the Caribbean nations got together and they are fighting the British colonialism and the French. So they have a reparations movement going on over there. We're not included in that, and that's fine. So we have our own reparations movement for Foundational Black Americans. Foundational Black American, that is a Black American, or what we are known to be called as African American, a person who's Black, who's not an immigrant. You don't come from an immigrant background. Foundational Black Americans are the only group who are non-immigrants. You're the people who built the country from scratch. You didn't immigrate from anywhere. You were descendants of slaves who built the country. That's what all the Foundational Black American is. It's not an organization. It's not a group. It is a lineage specific to this land.
Everyone does not include us in their party. Everyone does not include us in everything that they do. There has to be a point of division in order for us to separate and then unite among the like-minded of our people. So let's make this very clear. When we say we want to call people out, let's make this all the way clear. Everyone knows who is real and who is not, because there are some of us who are banned from every damn where because of how absolutely legitimate we are. So when you want to call people out, first they must be pointed out. We cannot unite with slave makers, slave owners, traitors, turncoats, nor collaborators. It ain't gonna happen like that. Too many of us are Black people with white minds. And so when you put people in front who say they speak for us, but at this point it is 2022 going into 2023, and we are still in the same position, if not a little backward from where we were when it comes to our overall progress, I call conspiracy. And I will never trade my place with someone who has a lot of money but no respect for my own people.
That's right.
Too many of us get comfortable once we get a check and we forget where we came from.
That's right.
And you don't want to even go back around your people because you feel like we're not even worth being around.
That's right.
So at this point, again, this is a nice stage, a wonderful event, but knock it off. Those who are really about this, be about it, so that the enemy can say, you know what, we need to stop playing with these people
That's
and give them their real respect.
I was called to a meeting with the Hollywood Bureau of the NAACP, and they asked how could they support more performers and people who are in the business. And I said, well, it would be a surprise if you told them that you did. Often we're brought in as props, right next to somebody who's gotten murdered in the community, but no one's ever asked them, how are they doing? What type of financial sort of help or education do they need? So you have people like Prince and Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, and these people dying all the time, and we act like they're disposable, like, oh, we're sad. Are you kidding? These are some of the crowning achievements of world history, and they have voices that translate across the globe, whether we like it or not. We just need to educate them and put them in a position that if they ever are past the mic, they're able to say something that's deliberate and or intentional and give the mic over to someone who does know what they're talking about. Having said that, we need abolitionists, white people who are willing, as you say, to give up that space and say, I'm willing to die on this hill with you.
The Revolt Summit by AT&T is sponsored by McDonald's, Doritos, Ciroc, and Puma.
Shout out to Revolt! McDonald's is continuing to focus on innovative ways to connect with the next generation